Remember the Buick GNX, the $30,000 sleeper that embarrassed Ferraris and made insurance companies cry? Well, in 1991, apparently GM's executive decisions were fueled by something stronger than coffee, because they did it again with a pickup truck, the GMC Syclone. 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. 4.3. Faster than a $100,000 Ferrari 348. Faster than the Corvette ZR-1. A factory-built street racing weapon with a truck bed. Plot twist. GM didn't just support street racing anymore. They armed the racers with trucks. Let me paint you a picture of corporate insanity at its finest. It's 1991, and while Ferrari builds the 348 TS with 300 horsepower for six figures, GMC, yes, GMC, the brand that makes trucks for contractors who wear their pants too low, unleashes a turbocharged monster that destroys everything at a quarter of the price. They only made 2,998 of them. This wasn't a limited edition. This was damage control before the damage even started. The 1991 GMC Syclone in all-black finish. 3 words that shouldn't exist in the same sentence. GMC building something that hunts Ferraris is like McDonald's getting 3 Michelin stars. Technically possible, but physics should prevent it. Yet here we are, talking about the most unlikely performance hero of the 1990s. A truck that made Porsche owners question their $60,000 decisions at stoplights daily. The automotive equivalent of bringing a nuclear weapon to a knife fight. 280 horsepower, 280. That's what GMC claimed. Turns out, they were lying through their chrome grille. Again, real output, try 300 plus at the wheels. GM's insurance department made them fudge the numbers because a truck embarrassing a Corvette was corporate heresy. Sound familiar? They learned nothing from the GNX fiasco. Insurance companies were already in therapy from the Buick. Now they needed medication. Let that marinate for a second. The Ferrari 348 did it in 4.9 seconds and cost 4 times more. The Corvette ZR-1, 4.5 seconds at $60,000. The Syclone, $25,970. This wasn't just fast for a truck. This was dyno results. Error 404. Logic not found territory. But wait, it gets more insane. The Syclone started life as an experiment. Someone at GM, clearly huffing exhaust fumes mixed with ambition, took the Sonoma pickup, a vehicle designed for hauling lumber and disappointing your father, and stuffed a turbocharged 4.3-liter V6 under the hood. All-wheel drive, sport suspension, 4-wheel disc brakes. This was a parts bin special gone absolutely nuclear. Executive lunches must have been legendary, because these decisions weren't made sober, and apparently that was standard procedure in GM's boardroom. Quick history lesson, because context makes this even more ridiculous. 1987. The Buick GNX shocked the world. 276 claimed horsepower, actually 300 plus. Turbocharged V6 humiliating V8 supercars. Corporate rebellion and murdered out paint. It became an instant legend. Street racers loved it. GM executives feared it. Buick wasn't supposed to beat Corvette. That was the rule. Harvard Business School uses this as a case study in how to accidentally succeed. Then someone in the performance division had a thought, probably during a 3-martini lunch that became a 6-martini decision. The GNX worked. People loved it. Street racers bought it. What if we did it again, but more obvious this time? 4 years later, the Syclone arrived. Because subtlety was clearly working too well. If a murdered-out Buick confused people, imagine what a sport truck could do. Marketing slogan, now with 100% less dignity for everyone. Still with me? Good, because the execution gets dumber and more brilliant. Production Assistance Center, yes, the same mad scientists who built the GNX, took regular Sonoma pickups and transformed them into weapons. Every Syclone was hand-finished. Obsessive attention to detail. This wasn't mass production. This was automotive alchemy performed by engineers who clearly missed their medication. They took GMC's most boring truck and created something that made the Mustang GT look like the Mustang II. The heart of this beast? A 4.3-liter V6, the same basic engine powering millions of anonymous work trucks, transformed into something supernatural. Mitsubishi TDX 17C turbocharger, 13 pounds of boost, intercooled Fury, 300+ real horsepower, and 350 pound-feet of torque. Pause and think. This was 1991. These weren't truck numbers. These were, your Ferrari is showing numbers. Physics filed a restraining order. But here's the genius. All-wheel drive. Not four-wheel drive for off-roading. All-wheel drive for launching. 40-60 power split favoring the rear. Limited slip differentials at both ends. When that turbo spooled and you dropped the hammer, all four tires hooked simultaneously. Zero wheel spin. Just acceleration. Brutal, face-melting, marriage-ending acceleration. Corvette owners learned what losing felt like. To a truck. More disappointing than Game of Thrones Season 8. The aesthetics were perfect. Black. All black. Before murdered out became a cliché, the Syclone wrote the playbook. Black paint, black wheels, black interior. Red accent stripes if you wanted to be flashy. Most didn't. The only chrome was the GMC badge, and even that looked apologetic. This truck didn't need chrome. It had menace. If Batman needed to haul mulch while fighting crime, this would be his ride. Inside? Surprisingly civilized. Bucket seats with serious bolstering. Full instrumentation. Air conditioning. Power everything. You could daily drive this thing, take your kids to school, pick up groceries, then destroy a BMW M3 at the next stoplight. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with a truck bed and a warranty. The Duality was more intoxicating than whatever GM executives were drinking. If you're enjoying this tale of GMC committing automotive treason, smash that like button harder than a Syclone launching from zero. Because we're just getting to the part where street racers turned this into their secret weapon. The suspension was completely re-engineered. Stiffer springs, performance dampers, four-wheel disc brakes, massive for a truck. This wasn't just a drag strip hero, it could corner. A truck that could corner. The apocalypse was clearly near. S10 owners looked at their sad little trucks and wept openly. The Syclone proved what was possible, and what accountants would never allow again. Testing revealed numbers that made journalists question reality. Car and driver confirmed, 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. Motor trend, 13.4 at 98 in the quarter. These were supercar numbers. The Lotus Esprit Turbo was slower. The Porsche 944 Turbo needed therapy. A GMC truck was running with Europeans and winning. Magazines didn't know which section to publish it in. Trucks seemed insulting. Supercars seemed insane. Let that sink in. Properly this time. Remember those secret performance parts catalogs from our street racing episode? The ones Detroit used to quietly arm racers? The Syclone didn't need them. This came from the factory as a turnkey destroyer. Turbocharged V6, check. All-wheel drive, check. Limited slip diffs, check. Sport suspension, check. Street racers could walk into a GMC dealer and leave with a Corvette killer, with financing. The American dream had a turbocharger. The legend grew faster than the truck itself, which is saying something. Stories of Syclones hunting Corvettes became folklore. BMW M3s learned to fear black trucks. Porsche 911 owners questioned everything. It became known as the anything killer, because it killed everything. Equal opportunity humiliation. The Syclone didn't discriminate. It embarrassed all comers equally. Built to a standard, just not one that made any sense. Production numbers, 2,998 units, 2,998. That's it, for the entire 1991 model year. Ferrari made more 348s, Porsche made more 911 turbos. GMC created artificial scarcity before Supreme made it cool. Each dealer got one, maybe two if they sacrificed a goat. The allocation process was more political than a presidential election. For a GMC truck, the price? $25,970, about $55,000 today. For a pickup truck, a GMC pickup truck. But they sold instantly. Some dealers marked them up to $35,000. People paid it gladly. Everyone knew what this was. Lightning in a bottle filled with nitrous. The last gasp of turbocharged insanity before lawyers ruined everything. Then, predictably, GM killed it after 1 year. After 1991, that was it. No more Syclone. The experiment was over. The inmates no longer ran the asylum. Why? Same reason they killed the GNX. It was too good. It made the Corvette look overpriced. It made everything else look slow. The Syclone was corporate rebellion, and corporations hate rebels, especially successful ones. Success breeds imitation, and imitation breeds cannibalization. I'll wait while you process that. What followed was predictable. Values tanked initially. It was just a GMC truck after all. You could buy a clean Syclone for $12,000 in the mid-90s. Then the internet happened. Forums spread the gospel. YouTube showed Syclones destroying modern cars. Suddenly, everyone wanted one. Prices exploded like the turbo hitting full boost. Today, $60,000 to $80,000 for a pristine example. Some have sold for more. Investment-grade insanity. But GM wasn't done. 1992 brought the Typhoon, essentially a Syclone in SUV form. Same drivetrain, same fury, more practicality. Families could now embarrass Ferraris with car seats in the back. Think about that sentence. Car seats and Ferrari killing in the same vehicle. The Typhoon proved the Syclone wasn't a fluke. It was a formula. A repeatable, reliable, ridiculous formula. The influence was massive. The Syclone proved you didn't need a V8 to dominate. It showed all-wheel drive could be performance-oriented. It paved the way for every unlikely performance truck that followed. The Ford Lightning, spiritual successor, the Ram SRT10, Syclone DNA. Every time a manufacturer goes rogue and builds something stupid fast, they're following the Syclone playbook. More influential than your Instagram influencer. The racing legacy? Legendary. Syclones dominated NHRA sport truck classes. They were banned from several series for being too fast. Street racers feared them. The black GMC became the boogeyman of early 90s motorsports. Like bringing a gun to a knife fight, except the gun was turbocharged and wore GMC badges. The confusion of losing to a truck added insult to injury. So what did we learn? The GNX proved turbo sleepers could work. The street racing scene proved people wanted them. The Syclone proved GM was listening. Sort of. This wasn't confusion anymore. This was calculated rebellion. GM took the GNX blueprint and added the street racing formula. Factory performance, dealer support, warranty included. Result? A factory-built street weapon disguised as a work truck. The cultural impact transcended trucks. The Syclone appeared everywhere, magazines, videos, video games. It proved performance didn't need traditional packaging. Sometimes the most dangerous things come in practical packages. The Syclone was automotive aikido, using opponents' assumptions against them. Nobody expects the truck to win. That's exactly why it won. Today's GMC? They'd never build a Syclone. Too busy selling Sierra Denales to people who think owning a truck makes them rugged. The brand that once built a turbo terror now builds transportation for suburbanites. From street racing weapon to grocery getter with leather. Evolution? More like devolution. Progress measured in cup holders, not quarter miles. But that's what makes the Syclone special. It represents a moment when corporate oversight failed magnificently. When engineers asked what if, and accountants were too slow to say, absolutely not. When GMC built something that made Ferrari owners question their life choices. Proof that greatness can come from anywhere, even from a brand known for fleet sales. What would a modern Syclone look like? Twin-turbo V6 Colorado with 500 horsepower and a price tag that makes Germans nervous. But it won't happen. GMC learned their lesson. Stay in your lane, don't embarrass Chevrolet, sell trucks to people who've given up. The accountants won, they always do. Corporate hierarchy restored, performance sacrificed, mediocrity enshrined. So here's to the GMC Syclone, the unlikely hero, the corporate mistake that became a masterpiece, the turbocharged middle finger to automotive hierarchy. It proved performance doesn't care about brand image, that speed doesn't need 8 cylinders, and that sometimes, just sometimes, the most unlikely company builds the most likely legend. Proof that when GM's executive decisions were fueled by something stronger than coffee, sometimes they got it right. The Syclone didn't just break rules, it broke the people who made the rules. And for 2,998 lucky owners, it's still breaking hearts at every stoplight. Think the Syclone was insane? Next week we're exploring another GM turbo experiment that nobody saw coming. when Pontiac tried to build a mid-engine American supercar on a budget and almost succeeded. The Fiero GT story, from laughingstock to cult legend. Subscribe and hit that bell. This is Car Chronicles, where legends aren't born, they're built out of bad corporate decisions.